guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be talking about my top 10 favorite limited series ever, and there are so many good limited series out there now, like it's crazy. So it was kind of hard to put everything in a list of just 10 because I've seen so many limited series, like it's crazy. But these 10, they are like my all-time favorites. If I had it go to my head, I'll probably list out these 10 most likely. But I love limited series because they're not as long as like full-blown TV series. They're about 5 seasons long with a bunch of episodes, and they're not as short as movies. So it's kind of like you're getting the best of both worlds in my opinion, because sometimes you don't feel like watching like a series that is like, you know, it's just going to keep going on for like how many seasons. Sometimes you're just not patient for that, so you just want something that is like 6 episodes, 8 episodes, 10 episodes, 12 episodes, you're done. You know that that's the end of it. So which is why I like limited series. So if you've not seen any of these shows, feel free to add them to your list, because these shows 10 over 10, each and every one of them. I'm not even joking. So let's get into it. I'm just going to be looking down to my laptop, which is just right here, so I can look at the list properly and not make any mistakes. But the first on my list is Mare of Easttown. This is it's a HBO show. I love HBO so much because they literally never miss. Like every single show is always a hit back to back. I think out of all the HBO shows I've seen, and I've seen a bunch of them, it's probably just one that I was like not really feeling, but the other ones amazing, from Insecure, Game of Thrones, aside from the final season, Rap Shit, which is on right now, The Sopranos. The list is just, it's just endless. And Mare of Easttown is just, it stars Kate Winslet, and seeing this was like seeing Kate Winslet in like a whole other level, because I don't think I've ever seen her in a limited series before. So I was like, okay, I want to see how this is going to go, and it was just absolutely amazing. She stars as this police officer in Philadelphia, and she's a detective, not a police officer. She's a detective, and she's investigating a murder of a teenage mother, and she's trying to keep her own life from falling apart because there's just so much going on in her life. Her mother that is always, you know, annoying her all the time, her children, the pressure of living up to the expectations of people in this small town. So because they see her as this, you know, hero, this person that she's just always does the right thing, so she's just trying to live up to that, and it's just so much going on. So she's trying to solve this case, and she's, you know, people are missing, different, so much is just going on. So that's just basically what the story is about. It's kind of like a who done it, and they're trying to find out who is this person that is doing all of this. So it's so much going on, and it's an amazing show. When I watched this show, I watched it in one sitting, and I was like, wow, she got the accent so well. Remember, Kate Winslet is British, and she got this Philadelphia accent to a T. So it was a very wonderful experience watching it. And the second show on my list is Alias Grace. It's a Netflix miniseries based on true events. It's actually based on a book by Margaret Atwood, a 1996 book about this girl, Grace. She's accused of being a murderess. They call it murderess back then because this was in the 19th century, and she's accused of murdering her mistress. That's, you know, she was like a housekeeper or something. She worked for these people, and she was accused of killing one of the women that she was working for. And it was just like a whole thing. A psychiatrist came in trying to make it look like, oh, are you, because Grace says she cannot remember the events of this whole murder thing. She can't remember anything that happened. So the psychiatrist comes in, tries to talk to her about everything. So they're telling us the story and telling us what happened, and he's trying to figure out if she's lying or if she's actually being serious about not remembering anything. So this show is one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. When I saw this show, I was goosebumps. It was so good. Everything about this show was amazing. Sarah Gardner played the titular character Grace, and it was just so well done. Amazing acting from the cast. It also starred Zachary Levi and Anna Paquin, so it was just everything about the show was flawless. Every single thing. I love that it was just 6 episodes. They just, went with it, did what they needed to do, and they ended it. It was amazing. So if you've not seen Alias Grace, I think it's one of those shows that a lot of people have not seen, in my opinion, because I feel like it should have gotten more, hype, because it came out in 2017, but I feel like it should have gotten a bit more hype than what it got, in my opinion. So if you haven't seen Alias Grace, please see it, especially if you love historical dramas like this one. It's amazing. It's really good. So please add that to your list if you've not seen it. The next show on my list is The Night Of. It's a show by HBO also. When I say HBO, they always give amazing shows. I'm actually not joking. So this show, it stars Riz Ahmed, amazing actor. I love him so much, and he gives a lift to this mysterious woman, and they end up going for a party on this horrible night, and they do drugs, they do a bunch of things together, and he wakes up and finds out that she's dead. Like, there's blood everywhere, and she's been murdered. Like, she's been stabbed multiple times to death. So he's charged with the murder, obviously. So he goes to jail, and it just follows how he's trying to prove his innocence, but how it also shows how the prison changed him, and he goes in as this innocent young boy who's just trying to do well for his parents and all of that, and then he goes in and he becomes a whole different person when by the end of the show. So it's just a very sad show, because it doesn't particularly have a happy ending, but the ending is kind of bittersweet, because you just look at the results of someone being charged of murder when he did not do it, like an innocent person that goes to jail for a crime that he did not commit, and then he goes in innocent and he comes out a completely different person. Like, it changes you forever. It's not something that you would ever get over. So this show, I think a lot of people have seen this show, but just in case you've not seen it, please definitely see it as soon as possible, because it's an amazing show. It came out in 2016, just a few years ago, but it's still really good. Yeah, so that is it for The Night Of. And the next show on my list is Chernobyl. Again, HBO. And Chernobyl, it came out in 2019, but it focuses on the 1986 problem that was the Chernobyl crisis in the Soviet Union. So it shows us how this crazy nuclear disaster, how it happened, and how the people that were involved in all of this, how it came to be, and how they tried to manage the crisis and the consequences of what they did. So it's a very the show was just crazy, and it starred a lot of very good actors: Jared Harris, Stellan Skarsgård, Paul Ritter, Emily Watson, and a bunch of other really amazing talented actors. So Chernobyl was one of those shows for me, and it won a bunch of awards also during award season, which was no surprise. It deserved every bit of it. So Chernobyl is number 3 on my list. And the next show on my list is Unbelievable. This is a Netflix show. The thing about Netflix is sometimes they actually do give good shows, if I'm being honest. Like, they have the problem they have, I feel, is that they just have a whole lot of content, and there's a lot of bad stuff going on Netflix. But at the same time, they actually do put out good shows sometimes, and this is one of them. It stars Merritt Wever, Toni Collette, Caitlin Dever, and a whole bunch of really amazing actors. And it's kind of based on a true life story. It's basically about this two ladies who were raped, One was raped in this city in this particular time, and they're trying to figure out what happened, only for them to find out that this is actually not a one time thing. It's a serial rapist doing all of this. So it was just a very emotional show, but the acting on that show, oof, oh my god, it was mind blowing. I was obsessed with everything about that show, especially Caitlin Dever. She's such an amazing actress, and she's so young, but she's really doing the Lord's work. The next show on my list is Watchmen. It's it's following this group of white supremacists and how they are waging a war against the police department, and the part of the police department that is in charge of reparations for racial injustice against black people. So they are not up for that, and this leads to the police officers concealing their identities, and their vigilantes running around. So there's just a whole bunch of things going on. And Regina King is also one of the cast of this show. She stars as Sister Night, one of the vigilantes and also police officers who's trying to investigate the death of her friend. And while she's doing this, she uncovers a whole lot of crazy things that she never thought she would come across. So it's one of those shows that honestly gave me goosebumps when I was watching it. I was blown away by every single thing about the show. Amazing show. I obsessed with it. I'm happy that they didn't do another season, like, because I just felt like that would have ruined it. I love it as a mini series. It's perfect this way. The next is When They See Us. I'm actually shocked I'm putting this on my list, but I think When They See Us is one of those shows that I would literally never ever forget. I would never forget. I'll never forget how I felt when I watched it and how I felt after watching it. It follows this if you're familiar with this Central Park case that happened in 1989, then this is what this show is based on. But it's a show by Ava DuVernay. She co-writes and also directs, and it explores the lives of the 5 major suspects of the Central Park jogger case, where a lady was brutally assaulted. It follows the case and follows these 5 men and how they deal with this whole crazy situation they find themselves in. And honestly, that show brought me to tears. I was in tears, hot tears, and it was just really crazy to see how it happened and how they dealt with it. And the cast, they did a fantastic job. So it's one of those shows that honestly I would not personally recommend it, because not everybody can deal with that kind of subject. Is very, very heavy, but it's an amazing show and it's on my list. The next show on my list is WandaVision. I don't think, I mean, it's a given that this should be on my list. Like, why would I not have WandaVision on my list? When I saw WandaVision, I was just mind blown by how they were able to just put together these stories and make it make sense, because I was like, a mini series, how are we going to deal with this? Like, we're still trying to get over the movies. Like, can we just let that marinate before we see this? But it honestly, from all the TV shows from Marvel that have been out, this has been my favorite, and it was not forgettable at all compared to the others. This was not forgettable, and I really love how Elizabeth Olsen just like, she just made me respect her even more as an actress, because she really kills this role. And the fact that I feel like people just shit on superhero actors and make it look like they're actually not acting, but they are acting and they're doing so much work, in my opinion, because they're looking at things that are actually not there and making it look like they're seeing what, like, something when there's really nothing there. So I think that that's just intense acting, and I'm mind blown by it. So I really love WandaVision. It's one of my favorite shows. I would definitely have to see. Next on my list is Patrick Melrose. Patrick Melrose stars Benedict Cumberbatch. He's one of my favorite actors in the entire world. I love Benedict Cumberbatch. If Benedict Cumberbatch is there, I'm going to be there. I think he's a fantastic actor, and he plays the titular character. This is a Showtime series, by the way, and he plays the titular character where he struggles to overcome the damage that he went through as a child that was inflicted by his extremely horrible father, who sexually assaulted him when he was a very, very little child. And he's grown now, but he's an addict. He's taking drugs, and he's married, he has children, he's struggling with, everything that he went through, coupled with the fact that his mother did not do anything to help him when he was a child. So it's just so much going on with him that he's trying to resolve and get through. And I, when I watched the trailer, it looked like it was a comedy, but I won't say a comedy, maybe a dramedy, but honestly watching it, it's not even funny at all. Like, it's a very heavy subject, and Benedict Cumberbatch did a fantastic job playing this character. Like, I have told anybody that cares to listen that, have you seen Patrick Melrose? You need to see Patrick Melrose. Like, he's one of my favorite limited series ever. If I probably had to pick number one, or like my top 5, I'll probably pick Patrick Melrose in number 2. We'll get to number 1 very soon. And the next show on my list, which will probably be number 1, is Sharp Objects. I love Amy Adams. She's a fantastic actor, amazing. Like, I don't know how to put it, but she's just an amazing actress. And she stars as Camille, who is this reporter. She has to go back to her small town. It's a small town show. She goes back to her small town, and she's just fresh off a psychiatric hospital where she was harming herself. And she was harming herself before she went into the psychiatric hospital. So she just came out. She's recently discharged from the psychiatric hospital, and now she has to go to her small town to kind of investigate this crime where people are missing, young girls are missing, and people are getting murdered and things like that. And she also has to deal with her mother, who is kind of like a socialite in the town, and she's just a very annoying woman, just making all sorts of comments up and down about Camille and her job and everything. So there's just a lot going on, and this is honestly one of Amy Adams's best performances I've ever seen, like ever so far. I don't know the English to use, but you get what I mean. She was fantastic. Like, this show came out in 2018, but I still remember specific scenes of her and how, like, she dealt with the entire story. And oh my god, like, that show was incredible. And again, it's a HBO show. You see how HBO, they don't play. Like, HBO, they don't play. And this is one of their shows that is up there for me. It was an amazing show. So I've given you my 10 favorite limited series ever, but I have just one more that I think I need to add to this list. I'll just make it 11. And it's The Act. It's a Hulu show starring Joey King and Patricia Arquette. They star as this mother-daughter duo. It's based on a true life story, first of all, about Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, she and her mother, they have this weird relationship where her mother made her and everyone else believe that she was sick and she could not walk. Her mother had Manchester syndrome by proxy, so she just wanted to keep on taking care of her daughter for as long as possible when her daughter was actually not sick, or she didn't have any problem. It was mind-blowing how none of the doctors that they went to could catch up on this over the years, because Gypsy Rose became like quite old before she realized that she was actually not sick, and her mother has been the one coming up with all these things and poisoning her to make her just be ill for as long as possible. So she conspires with this guy she meets on a Christian dating site, a Christian dating site, and he tells her that, I'm going to help you, I'm going to kill your mother, and he comes and he kills her. So this is actually a true life story. It actually happened in real life. So that show made me look at Joey King in a whole other like level. Like, she really came through for this role, and I was just mind blown by how she was able to get the real person, like how she was able to act as the real person in such a like mind-blowing way. She got everything to a T. So The Act is definitely one of those shows that I would recommend to anybody. If you love limited series, or if you want to see a limited series, you should definitely see The Act. So this is the end of my list. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't, and share, tell your friends about my channel. Thank you guys very much. I will see you in my next video. Bye.